Self-realization can be embodied in a person in two ways. In one way, that you become self-realized and you still have all these problems, your personal problems. And the second type is that you are working through your problems, and then at some point you become self-realized, and then you are there where you are. You are there as much as you have done the job to work on yourself. So self-realization is not a perfection of the personality or being. And that's a big confusion, that people think that all enlightened beings are perfect human beings, or even not human beings, divine beings. Now that's a big job of ascension. That's the topic of ascension. That's the topic of working on yourself. But self-realization is just realizing who you are in the essence. And then you deal with everything that you carry. So sometimes you will meet people who are self-realized, but they still have issues. And then you will scratch your head and say, how come he or she's enlightened, but they still have issues? No, that's not how it was in the movie. It's not how I saw it on YouTube. So then you make yourself more trouble, thinking that you have to become this perfect, and then you are. Then you realize who you are. And that's a bit more tough, isn't it? To become perfect, and then you realize who you are. So why don't be realized with all your crap? Why don't you realize that you are this awareness, and all this crap is fine, let it be there? Can you accept that? Yeah, so now we're gonna see what's reading your head.
It's a very different point of view.
Uh-huh. It is, yes. That's the highway to self-realization.
It's also easier to do it as well. No?
Yeah, it's easier to have all the crap and just to realize that you're awareness.
Because you can also work on that better when you are
Aware. Yes.
So,
Then it's easier to work on the crap because nobody's holding it tightly anymore.
or suppressing it.
Or keep suppressing it in the corner.
It depends what crap I would imagine, because it's the crap that, in my opinion, stops you from...
That's a wrong idea.
Is it?
Yeah. You see, this idea is gonna keep you busy, searching and seeking.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's that idea is the problem.
Okay.
And that's exactly what we need to decompose, these ideas that keep you away from awareness. And so I will say one thing, that anything that keeps you away from awareness is obstacle. Even the most holy ideas, that will keep you very far away.
As the fish analogy, in the water.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so let's take a moment. So, yeah, so this idea that I have to solve all my issues, yeah, and then hopefully, or certainly, because I'm working on my issues, then certainly sometime later I will realize who I am because I'm working on my issues. It's a bit that analogy, like parents telling to them, be a good boy, and then I will give you, something. It's the same thing, isn't it? So that's one obstacle. The other obstacle in this regards, it can be the arrogance. That one will say, oh, I'm good with my bullshit, blah, 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 I am who I am, I don't care about anything. That's called arrogance. That's also an obstacle. It's being identified with being okay, with being, with having these all ego episodes. And that would be called arrogance, isn't it? And that would be an obstacle as well.
You can't be enlightened and have an ego, no? You have to.
No, but what's ego? If you are realized and then you see that these emotions are coming up, you will bite your tongue. You will stop speaking arrogantly, and you will be aware of that. Everybody carries a big load of the past. Being human is carrying like this whole load of conditioning by birth. So even if you're enlightened, you just learn how to not to speak, how to just allow it to flow through and not to act on it. Or sometimes you can even talk, but without arrogance or without, this... or you can still even act it out, but you are fully aware of that. Yeah, so you don't identify it, and that's how you discharge it.
It's within the conscious choice, so that's why it's different, no?
So the point is recognizing you as awareness, as this freedom, now here, space, the emptiness through which or in which all the crap is contained. You are the emptiness carrying all this, bullshit and crap and heaviness and
every time I speak and there's a charge, in an energy of charge, that's I need to work on.
Yes. Yeah, and this working on it is kind of improving yourself, perfecting yourself. It's a continuous thing. It's a continuous thing, and it's gonna be forever because something else will come up and something else and deeper. It's a continuous discharging. And then you start showing more pure qualities because you have taken time to discharge. So that's why I usually say, even when you realize yourself, you might need a few years, maybe even 7 years, or who knows, maybe even 10 years. It depends on a person, how much they will need to discharge, well, at least the biggest dualities, the biggest, the dualities conditions. But then you still keep discharging, because even Shiva was discharging, he was still polishing himself, and all the saints and everybody was still, living and polishing these energies, harmonizing the energy fields. So essentially, who you are is this empty vessel, empty space, empty field, empty awareness, in which all this thing is. So you see how light this empty space awareness is, and all your ideas and knowings of yourself, that has a certain weight, a certain heaviness, certain substance.